Comedy, mushroom, cult, podcast. What's up, fam? Hey, kids. Do you like violence? It's hi, kids. I already fucked it up. I feel like the standards aren't gonna matter much anymore. So I don't care about saying fuck. And also, fuck it, right? Like, it's Thursday, November 7th, 2024, the year of our Lord. We're gonna start denoting things as the year of our Lord. We're just gonna get used. We're gonna get used. We're gonna get used to the I don't know, theocracy might be the word for it. That's probably going to happen. It's probably not going to happen, like an actual theocracy. I don't think real theocracies actually exist. It's just, I don't know, just a straight dictatorship. I got fucking hair in my mouth. Jesus Lord. Ugh. I don't even think that's like, it wasn't human hair, and I don't think it was the hair of an animal that I own. So that's disconcerting. But it did come from my clothing, so it could have just been from the dryer. City living, you know? Summer loving, having a blast. Before we get to the obvious, let's just thank. We'll do shout outs for like the last week or so. Shout out Cleveland. It's the best. It's always nice. It's something that I said last night. And that I truly believe is that, like, the reason why places are so fun to perform is because you get to leave. So, like, going back to Cleveland and performing at Hilarities, the best club in the country, I've had conversations with other people who are like, Denver Comedy Works. And it's like, I've never done Denver Comedy Works. Neither have you. You've just heard other stand-ups say that. So, like, what's the best club in the country that you've performed at? And whatever. Comedy on State, also very good. Best club in Wisconsin. There's no doubt about that. I don't think anybody, probably the best club in the Midwest. Maybe Acme might be better, but I've never performed there. I've been there. It's like a very cool setup. But yeah, I mean, I guess, maybe. I mean, Zanies is here in Chicago, and that's just like one of the first comedy clubs ever. So like that kind of rips, but it's kind of like a hole in the wall compared to like Comedy on State and Hilarities. But regardless, like it's nice to be able to leave, like going and doing well and like showing off how much better you are, or like showcasing what you've been working on is like, and then leaving and going back to like where you live and have like a life and can do all that other shit. It rules. But yeah, went back for Joe Briggs' special taping. It was incredible. First of all, Bill Squire hosted the early show. Shout out Bill Squire. Fuck iHeartMedia for doing the boy dirty. We don't like to see that, but that's showbiz, baby. That's corporate showbiz, baby. So shout out Bill Squire. He hosted. Then Brett Thomas absolutely fucking murdered his two feature sets for that night. First show, everybody had a good show. And then, of course, Joe Briggs. Just incredible work. I know that he's one of my best friends, if not my best friend. But it's like one of those, like, even if it weren't for comedy, we would still hang out and talk. Like, this is the first time I've seen him perform in over a year, maybe 2 years, and it was incredible. Like, just seeing somebody that you love dearly just do something so cool, and like especially like for every artist, I think it's a real thing. And yes, we're gonna lump comedy in as an art for right now. I mean, if it can like destroy democracy according to some fucking democratic women, then it can be an art form as well if it's done well. And he's just like, he was very hard on himself, like, because it's comedy, it's a live thing, it's never gonna go perfect. But the first show, everybody was a little tight. It was a great show. But the second show was absolute fire. John Armstrong hosted the second show. Then I did a little bit of a guest set. Did pretty well. It was very fun. People, like, before the set, didn't really want to talk to me about Chicago much, but after my set, a lot of questions about Chicago. So it was like a very, like, it's, I don't know, I'm older, I'm wiser, I'm more calm. But like that thing where you want to like prove that you're good, and that like every time that somebody moves or like somebody does a big step, it's very easy just to be like, hey, why the fuck are they doing that? Like that's going to help them. They're not even that good. They always like, and it's like, yeah, cool, whatever. Let me show you how only not that good I am. Crush that set. Brett Thomas set the world on fire, and then Joe fucking just murdered the Late Show. It was very fun. And then we went to a couple bars, hung out, had a good time. Spent the night at his grandma's house, so just hanging out with the boy until like 4 a.m, and then waking up at like 8 and then driving home. It was I'm not that young anymore weekend, and like I also smoked like half a pack of cigarettes, and like my voice may never be the same, but it's okay. Like we don't need to be smoking cigarettes, and that's a good reminder. But maybe next time we're in Cleveland, you know. And then just been doing miking it up, working, fucking working. There's 3 home games in a row for the Chicago Bears, so they've got us like prepping shit, and it's like a 6-day-a-week schedule when I only signed up for like a 2 to 3 day a week schedule. So we had to have a conversation, and I sat them down and I said, listen now, they're very nice, and I think they get that like shit happens, and like, but still like every day, like I leave earlier than everybody else because I didn't sign up for 6 days a week. I signed up for like 2 to 3, so I've got no problem working. I just want to work what I was supposed to work. So that was kind of, what's the word we're looking, compromise. That doesn't happen much in our world anymore. So you can understand how I might have forgotten the word compromise real quick. But like, yeah, it's been the compromise, but every single day so far. So it's been 3 days in a row since my altered schedule. They've asked me if I have to leave early, and the answer is unequivocally yes. I said unequivocally correctly, but like I lost confidence in it about halfway through, 3/4 of the way through, but like my throat caught me and it got me the unequivocally, like the second, you know, I'll do that Midwest like skip over a syllable just to make it come out, because our mouth doesn't work that well. Like when people say picture, I'm gonna take a picture of you, like it's picture, all right? Like you're gonna take a picture, you're not gonna take a picture. Like that gets me. Unequivocally is the word. Unequivocally, it happens more than not. That's 30 seconds on saying a word that you'll never get back from your time, from your life. But then something big happened Tuesday. We'll get there. I don't know if you guys saw it. So this might be breaking news to you, but we'll get there. But then last night, that's why I'm drinking a River West Stein NA. I show it to the camera, even though most people listen to this on audio instead of doing it on YouTube, which is fine because like I fucked up the framing. Again, most people listen on audio, don't give a fuck. Check it out on YouTube. See the shit show. You know, like see how the sausage is made. You hear the sausage. You can see the sausage at the same time. I guess I'm the sausage. The podcast is the sausage, but I guess I'm the minced, the meat stuff that's inside the sausage. Oh, speaking of sausage, I also had. I'm a child. Oh yeah, you guys know about that. I recorded after that. Had the vasectomy appointment. That was fun. That was before Cleveland. So I don't know why I did that. And yes, I'm smiling. I can have fun 2 days after the world changes. But yeah, today's 2 days after. But yesterday was in Milwaukee. That's why I'm drinking the River West Stein NA. Forgot how good it was at the bar, and it's like, hey, what kind of non-alcoholics do you have? Because you just get into the habit, and they're like, oh, we have River West Stein, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about one of my favorite reasons, like one of the best parts of Milwaukee is that they have a good NA beer, because that's where all of the beer is made. It's like getting candy canes directly from Santa's workshop, you know? I know that that's not exactly it, but it's the point. Like, and it's close enough that, like, you can, and especially like, I don't know, you almost feel it be a little different because like it's like made right next to the other beer, or just like is like the scraps or whatever the fuck it is, that makes a non-alcoholic beer non-alcoholic. But regardless, it's incredible. It's good. Favorite set I've ever had in Milwaukee was last night, and I think it's like the combination of I'm really good right now. It'll come crashing down. We're all on the same page that like I can say when I'm good. I can also say when I'm not good. I'm in that pocket right now of like it's good, and I'm keeping the ball rolling. Not tonight, but like we've done enough sets already. Whatever, it doesn't matter. We're keeping the ball rolling. We're keeping stand up on the mind. We're doing stuff like that to make sure the ball's still rolling. And I mean, it's been a while since I haven't been good. I mean, I've definitely had bad sets, but that's the thing about doing a bunch of sets in a month is if you have one bad set, the other 20 are going to overtake that. But just a good set last night. Great spot. The Cactus Club, Cowboy Killers, Reagan Niemola. Shout out the Queen of Milwaukee. Great show, great time. Just so much fun. Seeing the people, and that's the thing, and it's the same thing about Cleveland. It's like I can go, I can have fun, and then I leave. Like I can see the people I want to see. I can talk to the people I want to talk to. I don't have to like, and no, none of like the people I don't want to talk to from Milwaukee came. But like, I wouldn't have to talk to them or be nice. Like it happened in Cleveland. There's a guy who I cannot stand who I didn't have to be nice to. Because I don't live there. I don't want anything from him. The only reason why he gets anything in town is because he was drinking buddies with a bunch of people when they first started. He's not funny. He's just an asshole. And I talked to him for a combined 45 seconds. And he's like one of those button pushers who will like, if he's not getting the attention he wants from you, he'll try to like be mean or rude or like try to like get a rise out of you. And I just like looked him in the face and I was like, yeah, we're not doing this. Bye. And like that's nice because I get to leave, and it doesn't matter if he thinks I'm an asshole because I don't need anything from him. Same thing with Milwaukee. Like the people I saw last night are people I like, but I don't have to be nice to anybody from there because like I don't have to be nice to you. Like it happened yesterday. I woke up to a message on one of my little Trump jokey jokes that I made last week, and somebody who's a big Trump fan put it in a very algorithm friendly way to tell me to kill myself. So I just like blocked him and it's on site. Like that's how we're treating this new stage in America. And again, we'll get there. But like if that's the only language these fucking clowns speak is cutting them off from like their little troll job and then kicking the shit out of them when you see them in person. And it's somebody I won't see in person, so maybe I'm just talking a bunch of shit because he's a fucking loser. And we'll call him by name. Who gives a fuck? James Sharkey. Jim Sharkey. You're a fucking piece of shit. You've never been funny, and nobody needs to be nice to you because you hold zero power. Because I don't even think you do stand up anymore. You're just a troll online who says he's a comic. And nobody wants to book you because you're a piece of shit, and you've never been funny. But people have been nice to you because you like ran like that one show in Green Bay or whatever. But now that doesn't exist, we don't have to be nice to you, and you're a cocksucker, and nobody likes you. So that's what we're going with in this era of Trump. And I don't know if you have guns or knives or whatever. Just be a man, and we'll fucking step it up when I see you. This is somebody tell him he's blocked. He won't see it. You can tell him. I don't give a fuck. Tell him where I live. I live in Uptown Chicago. If I see him, like just let me know when you're in town. We'll fucking hash it out. It'll be a grand old time. Yeah, so maybe the world is different because I'm just straight up threatening to fight people on the internet. But you can't tell somebody to kill themselves when they're gonna see you in public. Like, you don't know what's going on in my head. Like, I flippantly make fun of suicide a lot because it's like a big thing that like people deal with, and obviously that's something that I mess with. But just like straight up telling somebody on the day after like a national tragedy happened, to telling somebody with like mental problems, not mental problem, but like somebody with mental health issues to kill themselves is not the way to do it. So like I don't know. If you want it to happen, do it yourself, pussy, because I'm not going to do it. And I will make sure that you at least walk differently afterwards. We'll put it that way. Very straight line sliver reference that like 5 people will get, but you'll completely understand it if somebody shows Sharky. He will be walking like Kaya Kubitz for the rest of his life after I see him again. But again, there's no reason I'll ever see him again, so maybe I'm just talking shit. I don't know, pull up, we'll handle it. And maybe I'll get my ass kicked. Maybe he knows how to... He's big, like he's a bigger dude. So I understand that. But I don't know, I'm crazy. And I haven't fought anybody in a long time. So like, it's one of those like, what's that country song? I'm not as good as I've ever been, but I'm better, I'm not as good as I used to be, but I'm better than I have ever been once. You know what I mean? Like, I've got it in me. There's one good one in me, and you've got to keep that. So, but that's the energy we're going with, because Donald Trump did win the United States presidential election on November 5th. Remember the 5th of November of 2024. And that's why I can smile today. Him winning is not why I can smile today. But the reason why I can smile today and have fun and dick around and still do comedy and like still have a positive outlook on everything that's going on in this crazy world is we were ready for it, right? Like everybody on this podcast should have been ready for it. We've done multiple episodes about how Kamala isn't it, about how just telling half the nation that they're weirdos and deplorable, and that men aren't shit, even though, like, it just trying to be the most unrelatable campaigns of all time. It's almost like you don't want, and again, we're gonna, large swaths, broad brush, we're intelligent, nuance, all of the other qualifiers we need. Like, I'm sorry for gay people, trans people, women, women of color. Like, I'm sorry that you're going to have to live through this again. And I understand that, like, this is a podcast. We can talk about things flippantly. But just know, like, I don't know. Like, we know, or most of us know that you're in a different world again today. And I mean, it's not a different world because like homophobia and sexism and racism have always been there. It's kind of the bedrock of our entire country. So that's why it's very annoying when it's like the people who tell you should be like learning about history or like, but like the people who tell you to believe in mainstream history don't know mainstream history and like are surprised when America does America. Which is wildly annoying, and that we'll kind of get to that in how I think we should fix this. I don't know if there's a way to fix it, so I don't want to say that we're going to fix this. But we're at a point where I don't know, like we can't. And again, it's the last 2 female people running for president. Just like, why is that the strategy? Just to be like, men aren't shit, men are misogynist. It's mostly white men who are racist. We don't want to like even like we're gonna run the most pacifist, like down the center, fucking centrist campaigns ever, and then just be like, we're radical. And it's like, no, you just like fucking want normal shit and like don't know how to talk to people. Like, that's what you're doing. The numbers have come out pretty much because I wanted to look it up yesterday and I didn't have the time to really dive into it, but I've seen it a bit today of it wasn't more Republican voters, it's that 15 million Democratic voters didn't come out to vote for Kamala, or 15 million people just didn't come out to vote. So like maybe the democracy's at stake kind of thing, that trope that we've been talking about on here for months now, wasn't it? Maybe telling half the citizenry that they're weird because they have conservative values and they want a strong American family. And like we did it a couple episodes, like we're the weird ones. Like that's why it's conservatives and liberals. Conservatives want things the way that it's always been. We're introducing something new and like better, and capital G good to the world, but it's still different, and that's scary to people. And instead of helping walk people along this path to like the new world of people being able to be themselves and like identifying in different ways and having different points of view, and that not being in the way of like whatever dumb shit thing you want, like your 2.5 kids and white picket fence, like nobody's coming after that. But like people see change as scary, so you need to make it less scary. And the way to make it less scary isn't being unrelatable or unapproachable on it. Like, I am a very liberal dude. Like, I understand that I'm a white man who reads a lot and knows things and isn't afraid to like correct people when they're wrong. So like I'm kind of the worst thing ever for the Democrats, because they don't want intelligent people who remember things. They want you to get mad about them taking away your rights. And instead of like winning elections and upholding rights, and or even legislating rights when you're the party in control, they want you to be afraid that people are going to take that. Like, what can they take away? You guys haven't given us anything. And by us, I mean not specific, but like, what protections and rights have you given to women and gay, transgender, all of those people? Like, yes, gay people can be married now, because that happened under the Obama era. So like that's cool, and they can get insurance and whatnot. But like, what they're gonna make it so gays can't be married anymore? Like that's gonna undermine the entire. Like, there's no way that we can go back from that. Could they round them up and put them in camps and kill them? Sure, that's on the table, and that's very scary. That's why we said we understand that this can be a weird, scary time. So to talk about it flippantly and angrily, especially being a person of non-color with a penis, I understand that I'm not the mouthpiece you want to hear it from, but also you're not going to hear it from them. And somebody's got to be the adult in the room, right? Like, I understand, like, we can all, and I channel my child a lot, and I'm a very childish person. So for me to be like, hey guys, we need to be adults. Like, most of you can't be, you're not special. And I'm sorry, like, this is the conversation that we need to have. Most of you aren't special. You don't do anything particularly special to society as a whole. You're a good person. If you listen to this, I probably know you, so I like you. But like, chances are, you don't bring anything special to society. That's why you work some basic mid-level job, you go home, you watch your favorite movie, you listen to your favorite podcasters, you go online and talk about Taylor Swift and Yas Queen everybody, and like, that's what you do. You don't really bring much. Like, you keep the cogs rolling. Like, you're a taxpayer. That's what you are. You're a citizen. And you're a father, you're a mother, you're a brother, and there's nothing wrong with that being it. But like, be aware that you're not going to change the world. They don't care about you. You're not. And again, this is gonna, like, this might border on sounding like I'm okay with Trump or defending him and his people. By no means. You know my heart. I hate him. I detest him. He is a wolf in sheep's clothing. He somehow got all of these fucking, God, I almost just used the R word. And there we go. Like, instead of like holding political people accountable, you fight other normal people on like activities and words that aren't like nobody gives a fuck. Like I just almost called Trump voters retarded. I'm not running for president. I'm not, like, I can do that. I'm not running for president. I don't need 50% or 51% of voters to like me, right? And I mean, I don't think that you should just throw that word around to hurt anybody's feelings, but their thinking is retarded, like slowed down. They don't think at a higher level. The reason Trump talks the way that he does is very calculated. He's not a dumb man. He speaks in a level that the guy who never left your hometown can understand on purpose. So like he's speaking at like a 7th or an 8th grade level so he can get people who are fucking stupid to understand him and to believe him. And I'm not saying that the Democrats need to dumb it down to 7th grade, because there's always going to be racists and misogynists, and that's not half of the country. I'm sorry. It's just not. Think of every person that you know. Are half of them racist and misogynist? Now everybody's got their fucking shades of it. It's a spectrum. Like, even the most liberal person clutches their purse a little bit tighter when they see a black person walking down the street at night towards them than when they see another white woman walking towards them. That's an ingrained bias in you. Everybody's a little racist. Everybody's a little misogynist. It's the society we were built in, and we're trying to make it better. But it is our job to explain it to other people. So like this smugness, we're just gonna come out and dance and be happy and do fucking baseline football bullshit pep talks. We're right at the 5-yard line, we're right at the goal line, and we gotta see it. Like, what are you doing? Who is that for? That's for Taylor Swift football fans. That's not for anybody who watches football. I love the NFL. I understand that most of them are terrible people, but like watching jocks run into each other and give themselves brain damage, it's fun. It's entertaining. It's a lot going on. But like I watch a lot of sports entertainment as well. And the one podcast was about how like the Democrats are embracing football while Republicans aren't embracing. No, that's not a real thing. Like everybody loves football. That's why a bunch of people get pissed when Taylor Swift shows up and a bunch of her fans show up and start telling people how fucking football should act. And it's like, no, you're coming into our world. We're not going into your world and telling you how to do. I mean, yes, some of them are now, but like we're not going to like the fucking Eras tour and being like, she should really play fucking like Thunderstruck. Like that would be really good right now. Like we're not going to do that. Like we're not showing, like, we're not going and being, I don't know what the fuck else you guys are into. I'm not watching Love is Blind and being like, well, I kind of do that, but like, there's not a giant movement to follow my rules of Love is Blind being stupid. Like, you got to realize where people are, and you have to go to them and talk to them like they're adults who know how to make decisions for themselves. And the mouthpieces of your movement cannot be people who are adults that obviously cannot take care of themselves. Like, I'm assuming we're millennials, most of us, I would assume. If you're Gen Z, sit this part out, all right? You can still act like a child. Millennials and older, grow the fuck up. Like, again, you're not special. Your job isn't to, like, be fucking social commentary on Facebook, Twitter, Threads, Instagram. Like, that's not your job. You're not an influencer. You're a fucking, like, I don't know, a fucking shipping and receiving clerk for a fucking company. Like, you make spreadsheets. That's what you do. You make spreadsheets, you go home, you love your family, you make a mean pie. Like, that's what you're good at. hey, here's Jimmy. Well, that's my real friend. I don't want to bring Jimmy into this. Like, he's actually a good person and a good parent and a good father and should be doing this. That's somebody with talent. So I don't want to bring him into this. He's the funniest person I know and doesn't do stand-up. I'm just the idiot who does it. If he ever decided to get a TBI and do comedy, I would probably be without a job. We'll say Johnny. I know multiple Johnnies, could be any of you. But like, your Johnny makes a mean pie. And not Johnny Behrens. Johnny Behrens does make a mean pie. He's really good at baking, but I'm not talking about him. That's just a coincidence. But like, people are like, do you know what Johnny does well? He makes fucking pies. You're the pie person in people's life. Be the pie person. Like, that's what you gotta do. I understand that you're special on Facebook. And I understand that, like, you get the dopamine hits. And I understand. But, like, for what point? So you can be the pie guy who gets likes on Facebook and has to have a hard take on politics? You don't know anything. That's why you do spreadsheets and make pies. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that life. That's a nice, simple, good life. Embrace the life that you have. You're not a fucking movie critic. You're not like, you like movies? That's cool. I want to know what your Letterboxd is. But, like, you're not a movie influencer. Like, just know your place and be an adult. Like, it's not... We can't have fucking people, like, being like, hey, we're going to put... I know it happened maybe twice, but we're not putting litter boxes in classrooms. Like, that's what these fucking people think is what liberals want to happen. Like, they think and it's what some people want. And, like, they're like, we should accept them. We can't have people in furry masks walking around. I know I said a couple episodes that, like, I respect them more than a lot of these people who, like, walk around with their fake fucking shit and won't commit to anything. I respect them more, but they can't be, like, they don't need to be out in the world. The thing that makes being a furry fun is the shame of it. We're not gonna kink shame. We want everybody to have their kinks. And do you know what makes kinks fun? Is the, like, I'm doing something I'm not supposed to. And if everything's accepted, then there is no such thing as a kink. Like, you can't kink shame when there's no kinks. Like, you can't just make this world where everything is accepted instantly. Now, being gay and trans and being a person of color, those aren't kinks. That's not being a furry. That is you as a person. That is wanting to be accepted. Great. We want you to be accepted as well. But if you're gay, think of your high school that you went to. You probably were afraid to come out because everybody there would have made fun of you and thought you were weird. Now think of everybody that you went to high school with and think if they ever left that place. Most of them never left. So they never got more, like, exposure to different people and different lifestyles. They don't know. You're the one gay person they know. And it's not your job to be a representative of gay people, but, like, if somebody came up to you and they're like, you're all grooming kids, you can be like, I don't even fucking talk to kids. Like, that's, like, a very easy thing to be like, yeah, that's not a normal thing. Like, sure, some of the people in television do it, and, like, some of the people in our government that we follow because they have a D next to their name, they fucking do it. Some of the people that are in the Republic, like, they do it, but I haven't met a gay person that just grooms children. I understand that, like, the gay lifestyle is very different, and, like, that's fine. They need to have their own thing, but, like, you can't also just be like, yeah, I grew, like, being gay is different. People who are 20 often, like, hang out with 14-year-old gay kids and, like, show them the ropes. And somebody needs to do that. But if, like, a 20-year-old dude was, like, banging a 14-year-old girl and being like, somebody's got to show her the ropes, they need to be thrown in jail. Like, we can't, like, it's a very easy distinction between what's, like, okay and palpable and what's, like, doable and sellable to another group of people you're trying to sway to prove that you have rights. And I'm not saying that you need to or that you should have to, but let's also be real. Let's be adults and be realistic and understand that the world that we live in is fucked and we're trying to make it better, but we're not willing to play the game to make it better, and that's why we keep losing. We're showing up to a chess game playing checkers because it's black and white in checkers. You're going sideways, you're jumping over it. You're going to the other end to get kinged or queened, and then whoever has the most pieces at the end wins. Chess, you have to know what you're doing. You can't just go in there like a bull in the china shop and telegraph what you're doing. You kind of have to trick people into accepting you, and then all of a sudden they wake up and they're like, oh, all of this change happened, and it happened incrementally because I was kind of tricked into a little bit. Because people are smart, and when you're trying to force feed them bullshit that is fucking weird, it's not going to work. You can't just put a lady in a pantsuit on TV and have her laugh like a fucking psychopath and then be like, if you don't vote for her, you're a racist misogynist. And it's no, that lady's fucking weird, and you guys aren't doing anything to prove it otherwise. We didn't even have a chance to vote for her. And here's what we're not going to do. We're not going to have people, liberals, progressives, Democrats, eating each other alive, being like, well, showing what we did wrong is gonna make it harder. No, this is how we're doing the same shit over and over again, and we keep losing. And you're the problem. Don't tell people who are trying to fix it and are pointing out what the flaws were, and we're pointing them out at the time and being like, well, you can't say that because then you're going to show the weaknesses and we're going to lose. Well, guess what? We can't say the weaknesses are still there and we still fucking lose. It doesn't, wake the fuck up. Just fucking figure it out. Have a conversation with somebody who doesn't look like you. Have a conversation with somebody you don't agree with. To make it your job to explain to people why your way of life or the grand fucking what we're going towards, you have to sell that to people. Because most people are fine with what they have. Now they want more money, they want safety, but they don't give a fuck about anybody else. They're fine with what they have. And that's wrong. We're all on the same page that that's wrong. But that's kind of how our society was set up. So if you want them to change that, you need to make it worth it to them and show them that not much will change, if anything, if we pay women the right amount of money, if black people have the same rights as white people, if gay people can get married and have a family and not be worried about being violated violently, if trans people can wake up and not have to feel like they can't be themselves, that doesn't take away from anybody on the right at all. Sure, they have religious beliefs that we shouldn't respect them but fine, that's an easy argument to have. You're not God. God gets to the same thing that every shitty person in your hometown has of only God can judge me. Only God can judge me. I don't give a fuck what you think. I'm a person, but you say that you're religious. You don't have to respect my lifestyle, but you have to acknowledge that I'm a human being. Baseline. Nobody deserves respect. You have to earn it. And only God can judge me. That's a very simple conversation. Now, did you sway that person? No. But you're at least meeting them halfway of I understand you don't like me because of this whole God nonsense, but in your language, only God can judge me. And quoting the Bible, cherry-picking Bible verses of being there should be no kings, and we need to treat everybody, you're doing the same thing on the left, cherry-picking Bible verses that, people who wanted to keep slavery going, you're playing their game. They're setting up the game, and you're playing it. You're not even, I was having a conversation yesterday. The things in this campaign that, they kept showing it. People were worried about the state of democracy, whether that is Democrats or Republicans. Obviously, it was Republicans because they were far more worried about it than we were, because 15 million Democratic voters didn't show up. The same amount of Republicans did. So I find it very weird that the state of democracy was a third of what people were voting on, and she lost by 5 points. Abortion was a big thing, but the economy was a big thing. Kamala didn't say any I'm gonna make groceries cheaper. How? I'm going, like, we're gonna cut taxes on the middle class, and we're gonna tax, how? Like, give us a plan. Like, people think, everybody in America thinks that they're going to end up being a millionaire. That's why you think you're special and have an opinion on politics, or a big, giant opinion on whatever your fucking thing is, whatever makes you think you're special. It's the same thing on the right. They think they're one big decision away from being millionaires and billionaires, and they don't want to pay those taxes. That's the same thing as you think you're one fucking Facebook status away from fucking Taylor Swift seeing you and being like, do you know what? I could be her friend. We can fucking do it. Or like, oh, Barack, like, oh, it's the same thing. You're living the same delusion. And what you have to do, because you're the smart person, is speak to them in a way that they can understand. Like, hey, I understand that you don't like taxes because it's sold to you that they're taking a big amount of your paycheck. They're actually taking a big amount of your paycheck. You want to know the way to make taxes less of your paycheck is if we make it more of these billionaires and fucking millionaires. We take more of their paycheck because we're not taking any money from them. We're not taking any money from trillion-dollar businesses. If they paid their fair share, you would have to pay less. That gives you more money to buy fucking jet skis or guns or whatever the fuck else you want to buy with it. See that conversation? I think any normal person that you have that conversation with, maybe you don't change their mind in that moment, right? You're not going to change their mind with one conversation. It's not like a fucking movie. But those barroom conversations that you have with people who don't agree with you end up moving the world forward. Like, we can't just be like, they're weirdos, they're sick, they're racist and misogynist. Sure, but what are we doing to convince them to be anything else? Are we being fucking weird? Are we being stereotypes? Are we fucking, like, proving them right by fucking putting litter boxes in places and dressing as furries going in places? Do whatever the fuck you want. I'm not saying, like, oh, you can be gay in, like, your own household, but, like, nobody, like, gives a fuck if you hold hands with your fucking boyfriend or girlfriend. Like, nobody cares. Nobody's coming up to you and saying, and I mean, maybe it's happened, but here's a news flash. Somebody has come up to every single person and told them they shouldn't be doing something that they see as part of their, like, makeup. It's not the same thing. Because, like, I wasn't born as a comic. Now we can do, like, the fucking nuance. We're fucking doing a weird comparison here. I've been told numerous times I'm not good at comedy. I shouldn't be doing it. But I make money doing it, and I'm I'm doing it, right? Like, if you listen to those people and you, like, give them the credence in your head, like, you're going to miss out on the other people that you prove wrong or that you get to accept you. Like, most people, if they leave their hometown and go to, like, college or something and meet black people for the first time, because guess what? I grew up in, like, an all-white town, and I'm completely different than I was as a young person before I moved away from that hometown. Most of those people didn't move, so they don't have any exposure to anything different. So when you're, like, thinking of this, like, you can't expect them to have the same experiences as you. You're the weird one. It's fine. That's you. That's who you are as a person. Nobody's asking you to be anything different. But you have to understand that the way that you live your life is different than what the rest of society does. And that's cool. That's awesome. A lot of people don't want you to. I want you to live that life. But you also have to understand that that's, like, the fucking thing. And you can't just be like, well, that's all white men's fault. Because guess who also votes? White men. Like, it's not... And, like, white men who are on your team are also, like, hearing that. And it's, like, anytime that, like, you have, like, the one... Here's it is. A group of white girls with one black friend who you all... like... Oh, Becky fucking, hey girl, like, you talk to her different, and you're like, well, that's our black friend, and we can, like, do things, because, like, that's what you are to somebody else. Like, you're their token gay person that they know, and they're like, alright, Jack is actually cool even though he's gay. I wish the rest of them were like that. That's a fucked up thing, but like that's what a lot of people think. And you can be like, guess what? There are a bunch of people like me. Most gay people are me and boring and like just want to live the same life as you do. Come to my house for fucking dinner. You can meet my fucking husband. I'll meet your goddamn stupid wife. Like, be humans and have a conversation with somebody who doesn't like. It's become cool and like exciting. Like it's clout to like fucking be like, I don't talk to my family and I cut all these people out of my life because of the way they voted. And do you know what? That makes them feel like a victim. That makes them feel Christ-like, and nobody is like bigger to them than Jesus. And guess what makes him cool is he did what the Romans told him not to do. He was a shit stirrer. That's what they think they're doing. They're not, but you have to like show them that they're wrong. And like this whole, that's not my job, or this is just the way life, it is your job, and that's not the way life is. Like, you have to wake up. Like, the amount of times where it's like, it's 75 million people showing you who they really are. No, it's showing you that, like, you can't just have some lady show up and be like, hey, we need to change every single thing because you're all racist and misogynist and shitty. That's not a campaign. That's not a way to get anybody to do what you want. On top of that, you also can't be a Democrat and say that you're fighting for the working people and then get endorsements by fucking Dick Cheney, George W. Bush, all of these people that you've told us were threats to democracy for the last 25 years. Like, the people that you say that we need to, like, save the country from, until this guy showed up, like an actual threat. You've been crying wolf until an actual threat shows up. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, all of these old threats that, like, all of our exes that we said were terrible, even they're teaming up against this one. This is our worst ex. And it's like, well, no, like, you can't tell me that the fucking devil is on our side now. Like, Dick Cheney's the goddamn devil, and you can't be like, even the devil doesn't like this guy. And it's like, that's fine, but you're teaming up with the devil. Like, you are teaming up with Republicans to fight the most Republican boss guy ever. And it's like, you can't, becoming them isn't how you beat them. You have to be different. Well, I mean, they want to take away rights. Like, sure, but you're not making a good argument with everything else that you're doing. On 2 or 3 things, they're a big 2 or 3 things. And I'm not making the, like, they're the same thing, but they're the same fucking thing. It's a bunch of rich white people trying to tell other people how they're supposed to live their lives on both sides, whether it is making sure that there's guns everywhere, making sure that there's no guns, whether it's making sure every gay person can get married or make sure nobody gay like can get married. And I understand that we're right, and like, abortion's important, gay marriage is important, fucking trans rights, those are all important. But like, those aren't even real things in most people's lives, but those take up all the air in the world. And that's because Republicans have used shit like that since the 80s to raise money and to keep people voting and scared. And so we're taking the bait and fighting in fake fights that they made up. Like, abortions aren't as prevalent as they say they are. Like, nobody's having late-term abortions unless it's an emergency. Maybe there's 1 or 2 that you can point at, right? But, like, that's not worth an entire campaign based around it. Like, nobody, like, honestly, nobody gives a fuck about guns. Most of the people you probably know have guns. Do you know what the problem is? Is when, like, kids get in control of them and fucking shoot other people. Are there too many? Is it too easy to get them? Sure. And I feel like most people would agree with that. If you just go, guns are the problem and you want to fuck your guns and blah, blah, blah. Like, after so long, they're like, do you know what? Fuck it. Yes, you are trying to come for my guns. Otherwise, you wouldn't be talking about it that much. And it's the same for the right. But they're in charge. We don't, like, they can keep doing what they're doing because they win. Like, that's the difference. And, like, yes, it sucks that, like, we have to do this and we have to change when we're trying to do the right thing. But that's how the fucking world works. You have to convince more people that changing for the better is better than what's going on now. And the campaign can't be, things are great now, we're just trying to change a bunch of other shit. When, like, things aren't great for most people. Like, the economy is fucked. Like, inflation had just been happening for a couple of years. Is a lot of that because of what Trump did? Is a lot of it because... Yes, great. But explain to people why the face on their television who's in charge of doing things is telling them that it's somebody else's fault. That doesn't pass the smell test, right? If it's raining outside and somebody's like, well, it's not raining, it's not my fault that it's raining. Like the weatherman. Here we go. The weatherman that tells you it's going to be raining all week, so don't schedule your golf trip. And then a new weatherman comes in and is like, hey, it's going to be sunny. Go do your golf trip. So you do your golf trip, and then it starts raining. Don't tell me that, like, it's... Like, you're not... I don't know. That's a bad analogy. I fucked that one up. But I think you can understand what I'm going for here. Like, you're gonna blame the person who's in charge while that's happening. We're smart. We know that, like, Trump-era fucking financial decisions fucked us for a long time. And a COVID, like a fucking pandemic that was mismanaged from the jump because somebody underfunded the fucking CDC and put in a fucking clown to lead it. Like, Fauci was in charge when fucking Trump was there too. Like, it's not... What we're trying to do is we're trying to convince people that the sky is blue when they've been told that the sky is purple, and everything in the world is made for that sky to seem purple. We know the sky is blue. They know the sky is blue somewhere as well. But everybody around them says it's purple. The people on their favorite TV channel tell them it's purple. The billionaires who want to keep making money off of them and run social media and run the algorithms to make sure that we keep people hyped up and mad and angry all the time and keep infighting, they say the sky's purple. And we're the people out there living like the sky is blue when the sky is purple everywhere else. And, like, yes, we're right. Yes, we're the ones that should be in charge and should be doing it, but we're not, because that's not how democracy works. You can't say democracy is being threatened and then lose a democratic fucking election and then be like, well, democracy's broken because this guy won. And it's like, no, he's more convincing. Like, you were running such a bad campaign that 15 million people didn't show up for you again. And it's maddening for anybody to blame anybody but the Democratic Party and the way that we've been running things and the radical, and I can't even say the radical left, because the radical left wants us out of most war. They want everything to be free, like things that like win elections, that like get people on your side and like motivate young people or people who like actually want to see real change. That's not even what the Democrats were promising or going for. But like the loudest voices in that party are trying to tell us that the sky is blue when it's purple, if that makes sense. Or even flip it. They're trying to... I mean, the sky is blue. The Republicans think it's purple. And then these weird Democrats who fucking think that, like, yes queening everybody or having fucking Taylor Swift and Beyonce doing concerts will fucking sway the vote. Like, yeah, more women registered to vote after Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala. But, like, also making the campaign... Like, you turn on the fucking news coverage and they're like, this is the men versus women campaign, and they're like, young white men don't usually show up for an election. Do you know what young white men love? Is being told that they don't do something and then doing it just to prove you wrong. Like, you're like, have you never talked to another person Like, that's what kills me about this whole thing, is you're like, and it's the same thing with me saying that they need exposure to the rest of the world. You need exposure to them to realize that you're not much different than they are. They need exposure to you to realize that they're not more different than you, and you're not much different to them. And it's not hard. It's a very easy thing. Having a conversation, instead of being on fucking Facebook trying to own the fucking Republicans and troll them, like, they do it better than we do because they don't have lines. Like, I can't even say the R word about fucking Trump voters because somebody on the left will come and be like, oh, well, you can't use that word. And it's like, I'm using it to make a point about people that you say you hate. Democracy is at stake. I should be able to use whatever word I need to make that point. And also, don't tell me democracy is at stake and then tell me that Kamala and fucking Biden call Trump on the next day and are like, hey, you won, good for you. And then, like, cheer for them and be like, this is how it's supposed to be. And it's like, no, if you really think democracy is at stake, you have control of the fucking army. Go fucking kill this guy. It's already been proven by the fucking Supreme Court that if you're doing something as an act while you're president to protect the country or in your duties, and one of those is killing people, like killing an American citizen with the army. We don't want to put that out there because I don't want the state to be able to kill anybody, period, because I'm a fucking actual liberal. But if he's that big of a fucking threat, you would do something about it, and you've done zero about it. Like, the one federal prosecutor's already dropping his case because, like, he's gonna go in there and, like, shut it down while he's president, which is fine, but, like, you're conceding defeat. He's not gonna be president for another 2 months. 2 months and 2 weeks. 2.5 months. He's not gonna be president for another 2.5 months. And you're already like, all right, well, it's all fucked. And it's like, if democracy's really at stake, you've blown up 0 banks. You've not, like, at least in 2016, and it was, like, a flaccid response, but the climate change people at least knitted some fucking hats and did a march on Washington. Do you know what happens when you really think democracy is at stake? January 6th happened. But you can't do that because you said you can't do that, right? Like, the one thing that we as a citizenry have to fight the government is violence against the government. And you're like, whoa, just because we disagree with them. Like, if you really thought democracy was at stake, you wouldn't go to work today. You wouldn't send your kids to school. You wouldn't you'd be going to buy a gun now to defend your house. But you're not. You're sitting on Facebook, you're crying about it because you don't want to win. You don't want to make any changes. And if you do, prove me wrong. That's all it is. If you need somebody to be the bad guy, I'll be the bad guy. Prove me wrong, go make the world a better place. Find a way to do it. I don't give a fuck. I just want the world to be better, and I want people to stop acting surprised when the world isn't better because they're not doing anything to make it better. Oh, you want people to change, but you're not willing to change yourself? Okay? And again, broad strokes. You don't need to change how you identify. You don't need to change who you want to fuck. You don't need to change what genitalia you have in your pants just to make people fucking believe in what you do. But you need to, like, stop with the we don't need to explain it horse shit. You need to stop with the fucking this is the way it should be and I don't need to do anything different. Well, it's not that way. Sorry that that's how the world works. I'm so sorry that the world sucks. But if you want to make it better, you actually have to make movements and you actually have to do things to make the world better. And guess what you don't do? You don't make a big fucking Facebook status about how it changes the world. You don't make a fucking podcast telling everybody to get their shit together and not get your own shit together, right? Like, you don't fucking tell other people what to do when you're not doing anything yourself. So grow the fuck up, have some conversations, change the world for the better so we can make sure that all of our black and brown, gay, fucking bisexual, transgender, grow the fuck up, have the conversation with these people that you don't need to explain anything to save the lives of the people you're so worried about dying. And you can't even take fucking 30 seconds to explain it to people or to shut the fuck up about infighting on the left and how everybody else should act and how everybody failed democracy. You failed. We failed. We all failed. It's point the finger at yourself. Fucking remember the 5th of November, V for Vendetta. If you want to see the guilty party, look in a mirror. It's you. Every single one of us fucked this up. And you can't point at everybody and say it's their fault, that they're racist, that they're misogynist. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and see why the ideals that we know are better for society aren't getting passed. And it's because we're playing the game that the billionaires want us to play on their field. And unless you're willing to fucking put a guillotine in town square and fucking drag them out and cut their heads off, you need to play a different game. You can't just try to own them on their platform. You can't fucking go on TV where the billionaire businesses that they run are paying for the campaigns for the other. Like, you can't put faith in television people. Like, the people who run fucking the record companies that pay fucking Taylor Swift billions of dollars, I bet you they're run by Republicans. They don't want to pay more taxes. Like, so the people who work for the like the people that you love are working for the people who run the world. Like, you're not even supporting the right person or swaying the right person. Like, it's maddening that you just, like, normal people cannot see it. And I don't understand it. I just honestly don't get it. I'm 34. I've been voting since 2018. Democracy's been ending since fucking 2001, whether it's terrorists or whether it's fucking Mitt Romney. When, like, we just, like, keep passing things like the fucking Patriot Act and, like, shit that, like we have Democratic leaders bombing more people overseas than anybody else. We continue to fund Israel, genociding an entire people in Palestine, and now just, like, picking fights with everybody in the region. We keep funding an endless war in Ukraine against Russia, and, like, they deserve to live, and maybe that's the right battle to pick, but we can't pick the wrong battle to pick forever and then just decide this is the right one, right? Like, you have to understand where you're at and come to reality to change it. So do it. Be part of reality. Like, you can know all of the shit that you know. You can think that you're so smart and you're proving everybody wrong and blah, blah, blah. Like, you can be on the right side of history all you want, but that's history. That's the past. We need things to be better now. Like, in the future, what you're doing now is what's actually going to make the arc of justice bend to you, not responding to fucking Barack Obama emails, okay? Like, do something. Shut the fuck up and do something. That's it. Alright? And I'm sorry. Like, this is also me processing it. Hopefully you turn this off halfway through after I stopped making sense in the middle and then brought it kind of back around. I'm just sick of fucking Democrats telling everybody that they're wrong and that they fucked it up when it's them. They are the people who pick who we vote for. We didn't even get to fucking vote for this one. Alright? And guess what? Nobody wanted to vote for her, and she's not fucking president. You don't even have the Hillary won the popular vote bullshit. She got fucking trounced. Kamala got trounced. And it is not because America's racist and misogynist. Is America racist and misogynist? Yes. But that's not... Is that a factor? Sure. But that's not the reason. And you're smart enough to know the difference. Okay? So don't try to make this a black and white issue. You know there's nuance. You're smart enough to deal with nuance. Do you know who's not smart enough to deal with nuance? The fucking dilettantes that were trying to beat and get out of government and trying to make them come into, like, the real world and the new world. But, like, guess who controls the real world now? They do. We live in their world, and we're not, like... You're like, oh, if I don't go to work, then I can't pay bills and I'll be homeless. All right, then how much do you really care about it? If you're not willing to put everything at stake, how afraid are you really? Just think about it. Like, you can be scared and just like still need to pay bills and like have to do that. Like, you can not have a good outlook on the future. But like you can be let's put it this way. You can be pessimistic on how things are going to turn out and unhappy about the road that we're going down and still live a life as a normal person without being debilitated and just like being ridiculous to get likes on Facebook. If you were really worried about democracy being at stake, you would not be on Facebook. You would be in the road. You would be smashing cars. You would be burning down a Walgreens, right? But you're not, okay? You're on Facebook fucking talking to the same 20 people who like your shit, getting that dopamine hit, because that's what you are, and that's who you are. You're somebody who does nothing and brings nothing to society, but you want everybody to be in the society that you want them to be in. How about you maybe knock on some doors? How about you maybe talk to people that don't agree with you and try to sway them to be on your side? How about you get off of the fucking computer and go out into the world and like enjoy this goddamn country that we live in that is actually really cool and really good. It's not the end of the world. The world has been ending literally since the world started. Could he become a dictator? Yes. Right? That's something that we need to be worried about. But saying that democracy is dead now when he's not even in office is not fixing it. You cannot be that scared of the end of the world or the end of democracy and then just give up when you lose the election. It's that simple. You can't be afraid of democracy ending and then call to congratulate him on the same day that he is declared the winner. Yes, a peaceful switch of power is important to a democracy. Great. We need to do that. A peaceful transfer of power is important. Do you know what you don't need to do? You don't need to call him and congratulate him and tell him you're going to make it easier and then pat Kamala on the back for being the more mature one. Fuck off with that, right? I would much rather have an immature woman president making sure that that it rains meatballs and spaghetti and that everybody can be safe than a mature, buttoned up woman who just smiles and says what she's supposed to and loses every single time. If you're gonna play the game, fucking play the game. But you're not playing the game. You're just leaning into what your role is, and that's bitching about things not getting better and not doing anything to make them better yourself. Worry about your own life. If your life sucks, it's probably because of choices you've made, not just because Donald Trump existed in our government starting in 2016. I was 26 when he got elected president. I was fucking up my own life. I can't blame anything on that. And I understand it's different for like people of color and all of our friends that are transgender and gay and even just regular old women. But guess who fucking voted for Trump as well? Women. The same women that you're worried about and like say are so much better than men are voting against you too. You can't even sway your own people. How are you going to sway somebody different from you? Look in a mirror, do something different, and different things will happen. All right? We're not doing this again. I refuse to let it be another 4 years of we need to punch Nazis and then just not doing a fucking thing. Like, there are people that still don't talk to me because they said that they need to punch Nazis and then said that at a comedy show, people were booing somebody because they were Jewish. and not a single person fought them. And their answer was, we were worried about our safety. Okay, what's going to change without a little risk? Do you think punching Nazis is gonna be, like, when you say punch Nazis, do you mean like when they can't hit you back? Like, are they not allowed to do that? Or are you just full of shit? Like, do you really want things to change? Or do you want to say that you want things to change and play the victim card at the same time? Now, are there things that you're actually a victim of? Yes. But you also can't talk a bunch of shit and then not back it up. Like the guy I called out halfway, like a fucking hour ago at this point, probably. I hope I don't see him, because then I don't want to fight people. But like, that's the one person in so long that I've threatened to fight. I'm not going to say that I'm going to fight large swaths of people that you run into on the daily basis and then don't do anything about it. That's who you are. You're the punch a Nazi guy who has a chance to punch a Nazi, and then you go, well, I was worried about my safety. Well, that's kind of their whole fucking thing, you fucking clowns. Like, don't be that person. If you're gonna be the punch a Nazi person, go fucking punch a Nazi. Find one and punch them in the face. Because do you know what? If you don't do it, that's what they're going to do to you, because you made them the enemy. And what do you do to your enemy? You squash it. And if you make somebody an enemy and you're not going to do anything about it, then you're just an idiot who made an enemy for no reason, and you said a bunch of shit that made you look stupid, and then you have to cut out a bunch of people from your life because you can't deal with the fact that you're a fucking idiot. So stop being an idiot. Find a way to talk to people to change the world, and let's fucking do it. Because we can do it together. Like, we can do it. Like, I don't want this to be all doom and gloom. We can fucking pull this off. It's been done before, right? Like, we had a black president this century, not even 20 years ago, and it's something I've been talking about in my act, but it's a real thing. Like, having a black president was such a joke until it happened, and then people were like, well, yeah, obviously it's always gonna happen. Like, there's one. If you look at the fucking thing, there's one black, like, if you look at a dot matrix of the presidents, there's one black dot and a sea of white dots. And we thought we fucking did it. Like, and we took our foot off the gas. No. Just because you did it that one time, that, you see how they fucking responded, and now we're gonna maybe be in a dictatorship. We have to keep our foot on their throat if we want to make the world better. And we're not doing it because we say a bunch of shit and we do nothing. All of us. Me included. Right? So fucking get your shit together. Let's do it. Like, we can fucking do it. But we refuse to do it because we don't want to be like, hey, maybe I was wrong. Alright? You were wrong. I was wrong. We collectively were wrong. Apparently, most of the country feels differently than we did. What if we are wrong? Have you had that thought? Like, sit down and think, what if we're wrong and they're right? Have that thought. And then figure out how you're going to talk yourself into remembering that you're right, and have that conversation with them. Not in an embattled way, but in a welcoming, I want to have a conversation with you about this. Tell me how you feel about it. I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. Maybe we won't change our decisions right now, but it's a lot harder to see somebody as an enemy when you know who they are and you've met somebody like them before. You can treat them like a human, and guess what? That makes ripples over time. So be nice. And be kind. Love your neighbor. But if it's time to do some shit, 10 toes, let's square up, let's actually punch some Nazis this time instead of just talking shit. Okay? I think that's fair. We're not the victims. Okay, we lost an election. We fucked up voting in somebody. But it's the Democrats' fault, too. Like, we can't also be like, well, they're going to help us, and they're the ones that are looking... They're not looking out for you. Obviously. How many times do we need to lose in important elections when they don't take it seriously? and then they get us worked up saying that democracy is going to end, and then on the day that they say that democracy might end, they call and congratulate the guy who's ruining democracy. All right, tell me those people care about you. Do you know who cares about you? Probably your uncle who votes Republican and doesn't think gay people should exist, but you're their gay nephew and they're very nice to you because they know you and they hold love for you, and it's a cognitive dissonance that eventually you can overcome. It's happened. Don't say they'll never change. It's happened. It will happen. It can happen. You just can't be too good to work for it. All right, that's it. Thank you for the vent session. Thank you guys for doing this. If I fucked something up in there, sorry. I'm emotional as well. Yeah, it is what it is. I've got shows coming up at Who is Ray Roberts on everything. We're going to be making some big changes to the comedy stuff here soon. So keep an eye out for that. Very excited for that. I'll do a whole release and everything on that. It's very weird to do businessy shit this week, but at Who is Ray Roberts on everything. Join the Patreon. whoisrayroberts.com. Just be cool. Lick your wounds, feel your feelings, and let's get to work. All right? I love you guys. Everything's going to be just fine. And if it isn't, then we'll deal with it then. Or we can start now to actually do something about it instead of just saying that it's already over. You're better than that. It's not over until they throw that last fucking clump of dirt on you. All right? Stay cool. Stay funky. Thank you so much. Bye.